Hello, good evening and welcome. And yeah, thanks for joining me again. Another ROUTEMASTER update. Yeah, we're doing the Agora ROUTEMASTER. We're doing pack 2 because we've got pack 2, and we're doing stage 11. So stage 11 on pack 2, and yeah, we're doing a few bits and pieces to the oh goodness me, few bits and pieces to the steering arms and on the suspension. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So let me go down to here and I'll see if I can find the share screen and see if I can find my window that I can share. So let's have a look. So hopefully you can see this. I'm not sure whether you can, but yeah, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be fitting the steering mechanism, and we're going to be putting all these bits and pieces of steering arms onto the build and onto the front axle, and so then we're able to make it steer at the end of the build, hopefully. So that's the assembly guide. So right, let me get rid of this and stop sharing and what have you. Let's see if it's working. Come on. Is it going? No, it's not going. So there we are. Anyway, I don't know whether it's shared or not, but there we are. So right, I'm going to have a look at the chat. I'm going to quickly go through the chat because I want to get on if I can. So right, so first one in the show tonight then is D Harris. Good evening, all. Good evening, D. And D says, evening, Dave, sir, how's you? I've actually got a terrific headache tonight, so, and I think my neck's playing up actually, so yeah, well, that's another story, but yeah, I'm not too good tonight, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay, don't worry. So, right, Darth DMC, evening all, evening Darth DMC. We've got Horlicks with us as well. Good evening, Dave. Hi, Horlicks, and thanks for joining us. And Horlicks says hi at Darth DMC. Horlicks says, hey, D Harris, nice to see you. Yeah, it's nice to see everybody. So D Harris says, evening, young Alex, how's you, fella? So then we've got Stephen Owen. Hi, good evening all. Hi, Steve. Hope you're well, and hope you're not been working too hard. And yeah, difficult time of year for bus drivers, without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, keep safe, my friend, won't you? Keep safe. So right, we've got Horlicks says, hi, Stephen Owen, long time no see. Yeah, we often see Stephen on my channel. So yeah, I obviously seeing what we're going to be up to with this ROUTEMASTER. So then we've got, oh goodness me, my chat's jumping like I don't know what. Right, so Horlicks says, I'm good. D Harris, thanks. And then we've got my lovely lady wife, Crafty Chris. Welcome and everybody. So hello, darling. Thanks for joining us. And then we've got D Harris says, Horlicks, did you see the power adapter for the Spitfire? Yeah, that is one fantastic piece of kit, is that. I saw that, D Harris. Thanks for sharing it to me. And yeah, the thing is, I don't know whether I can afford it. So anyway, we'll might pass on that one for a little while yet. So then we've got D Harris says, Crafty Chris, good evening. And then we've got Max Mod says, good evening. Good evening, Mark. Thanks for joining us. We've got Jay's channel as well. So evening, Dave. Good luck with your build. Thanks for that, Jay. Much appreciated. And then we've got D Harris says, evening, Mark. And then, oh, goodness me, it's not working again. Come on. It's sticking is the chat. Right, so D Harris says, evening, Jay. And Horlicks says, no, D Harris. Right, okay, well, I'll have to try and share it to you, Horlicks, if not. So, yeah, it's a brilliant piece of kit. So, yeah. And then Max Mod says, evening, D. Right, okay, well, I'm going to leave the chat there, everybody, if that's all right with you for the time being. I'm going to put the ticker tape on across the bottom, because after all, this is the Agora ROUTEMASTER build. So, and this is the standard build that we're doing, the standard red ROUTEMASTER build. And as I said, it's pack 2, stage 11. And let me just change my camera, and then we can we can see what we're looking at then, and we'll go through the parts. All right. So, right. I'll come back to the chat a bit later on if that's all right with everybody. And right. So let's have a look at the parts. So I'm going to be using the Hachette magazine, which is what we got with the Hachette build. And so we're going to be fitting the steering mechanism. So the steering rods and links are fitted to the front axle and suspension systems that was assembled in a previous issue. Okay, and here is the previous issue. So here is the axle that we assembled from pack 1. And you may have noticed that I've actually found the screws that was missing out of the nut protector. So fasten that on, tighten the wheels up nicely. And yeah, they're both on there, you see. And yeah, that's rather good. Yeah, for some reason, I only had one screw, one of these little red screws. And anyway, I went and had a look at my collection, and I found a couple. So yeah. So that's all together nicely. And a bit later on in the build, I will warn you now, but a bit later on in the build, we are going to be taking this plate off the bottom, off each side, and then springs are going to be coming out. And we're going to be placing this on the chassis and then putting it all back together again. So one of the reasons why we do that is that this suspension is rather tough at the moment, but it does work. And what happens is that with them being compressed, these springs, it just makes them a little bit more easier to get back together when you fit this to the chassis. So right, okay, so I'll put that down for a minute and we'll go through the parts. We've got 2 11As, which is that one and that one. And we've got an 11B, which is that one. We've got an 11C, which is that one. We've got an 11D, which is that one, the long bar. We've got an 11E, which is that one, which is a steering rod. And then we've got 3 lots of screws. So we've got LM screws, 2 LM screws. So, and I'll have them in my screw pot while we're chatting. And yeah, Horlicks, you might have recognize this. In fact, it's one of your products. Yeah, so the lovely Horlicks sent me this when we first sort of got introduced. It did, and I was using it for ever such a long time on the first ROUTEMASTER builds, and it was a brilliant piece of kit. And when I was looking for them screws earlier for that axle, sorry, for the nut protector, I come across this and I thought, oh, I'm going to use that tonight. So there we are. So fame at last, Horlicks. So then we've got 3 EM screws. Okay, that's getting into the packet of the EM screws. I think once you get past a certain age, you know, your fingers and that don't work properly, do they? So not that I'm saying I'm old, but yeah, I won't be seeing 50 again. That's a fact. Well, I think the next one I'll be seeing is 60. So yeah, so I may have to use the scissors on that one and get into that one. You don't want to come open. So what are you going to do about the sticker? Someone says, but yeah, we'll work something out. Don't worry about that one. So there's 3 EM screws. I wonder if the sticker will come off the bag now. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah. I don't want to rush this tonight because I know that it's, what I'll do is I'll just pop that under there because then I know that they're EM screws. Then we've got some KM screws. We've got 5 KM screws. So, and they're quite a bit longer as well. They're similar to the EM, but they are actually longer. So they're actually 1 millimeter longer according to the book. So, according to the instructions. If you're building along with me, you'll be obviously downloading the instructions from the Agora website, from the build. And you'll be seeing this a bit later on in the build diary too. I've got my pot here with some oil in, because these are all M screws. That means that they're going into metal. So, and I like to use a bit of oil just to help these screws along. I've pre-looked at the holes and hopefully everything will go in nicely. But if not, I've got a nice, very small pointy file that I can just use to remove any paint block with. So, right, let's get constructing. Okay, so step one then is we're taking the big push rod, and we're taking this piece here, and then what we're doing is we're going to screw them together. So as per the instructions, that one has got to go pretty much over there with a EM screw. So my EM screws are here. Oh, and my screwdriver's picking it up nicely tonight. So, and that's without remagnetizing it. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. It's not too fuzzy. It might be a little fuzzy for a little while because, well, the camera gets used to me working on this surface. So I'm screwing that in. I'm not going to make it too tight, but I do want it to hold, and I think that'll do for now. So that's that bit in there. So step two is another easy section. It's taking one of these link arms, tie rods, and putting it on that there for the other side. Okay, let's see if we can put it in a rough position. So and that's the way it goes, like that. And it's again, we're actually using a KM screw for this one. So this is one of the KM screws, the longer ones. So, and you can see what a help this screw pot is of Horlick's. It's brilliant. So I did say to him at the time, I said, you could be a millionaire if you made these for everybody, and everybody bought them. I said, but then he said he didn't want to be a millionaire. So he said nobody would talk to him then. Well, I said I would. Right, let's see if we can get that in there. Nice and gentle again, you see, with the KM screw. It's going in nicely. Okay. I just want that loose-ish for now because I don't want to tighten it right up. And let's see if we're getting a bit more. Just a wee bit more. Yeah, I can go in a little more. Okay. Yeah, that'll do for now. Lovely. So that's that. Okay, and then I think for step three, we're going to need the axle. So this is where it gets a bit more complicated and a bit more involved, but it's not too bad. Honestly, it's not too bad. So, how's everybody? Is everybody okay? You're all ready for Christmas, or yeah, that dreaded word, C word, Christmas. It's coming along quicker than ever, isn't it? So yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, no, I can't help the shadow. All I can do is that, which might white it out a bit, but let's see what happens. So yeah, so yeah, getting ready for Christmas. We've got our trees up, and we've got some of the parcels wrapped, and some of them sent away. But yeah, it takes time this time of year, doesn't it? So right, so step three then is take the front axle assembly as made in the previous issues, and the steering tie and push rod link, and assemble in step two. Note the orientation shown in the illustration. Pass a KM screw through the free end of part 11A and into the screw socket in part 7D, assembled in issue 7. Circle the inset right. Screw in place, but do not over tighten. So what we're doing, we're actually taking this, and then we're going to be screwing this into there. Okay, like that. I think you might not be able to see that because my writing's in the way. I've left the chat on. Let me move that chat. Let's go back into chat. Goodness me, there's 15 in the chat. Where did we get to? So here we are. It's highlighted. There we are. That's better. So right. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, get carried away, don't you? And yeah, carried away chatting to myself. Well, actually, I'm not chatting to myself, I'm chatting to you a lot, so which is good. So we get that in the general position of there, and then we need a KM screw. So that's one of the longer ones, and I need to get that on my screwdriver. Again, we could do with an invention that gets screws onto screwdrivers better than I can. So yeah, we could do with an invention. So anybody good at inventing? Right, let's make sure we get this the right way around. So using the orientation of the instructions, or in my case the magazine, get this in the right position. And this is going to be a case of like 3 hands. So I think we're going to try and get it through there and into the socket that's behind the wheel there on the brake disc, back of the brake disc. So it's going in. Yeah, it's going in nicely. And yeah, don't over tighten it, but it wants to be a little bit tighter than that, a little bit more. These are fitting lovely so far. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying this. So when I finish this, I'll come back to the chat and then I'll tell you a little bit of news. Yeah, which I'm hoping that you'll share with me and be pleased as much as what I am. So right, I'm guessing now then that we go to the other side for step 4, and we take the push rod assembly from step 1 and study the diagram carefully to see how it attaches to the push rod. One of the ends, 11C, should be positioned above the front axle, circled in red, and pass an EM screw through the hole of the free end of part 11D and into the socket on the side part of 11B. Tighten the screw, but take care not to over tighten. So what it's telling us to do is to put this end on this end here. Okay, so into the little hole there. So we've got to try and balance that over there and pop an EM screw into there. Okay, and it's not going to be easy, but we'll try. Okay, let me get saddled up with an EM screw first. And this might be the last EM screw we use, I don't know. Let's see. So a little bit of oil on the end of it, and let's see if we can level this up and get this in there. So I think I've said this before many times, but I'm trying to do this in real time so that you guys, you know exactly how much it takes really. I think we might move on to a different method when we get lots of screws involved. But for now, we're going to be using real time because it doesn't take so much time up. Right, so that is what it's going to look like so far. Okay, and can you guess what's going to happen now? So let me just turn the page. So I'm going to turn the page to step 5. Step 5 is to put this push rod at the other side. So we'll go ahead and do that. So it's a similar case of putting it like that one on this side. So we're going to need 2 KM screws. So one in there and one in there. So, and this is going to be rather difficult because this is where I definitely need 3 hands. So, and yeah, see what we can do with. So we put it with the lugs facing downwards as per the magazine, and then we lay it across one of them and then try and pop a screw in as best we can. So yeah, it's going in nicely. That's what I like. So I like a good plan when it comes together. So again, don't tighten it too much until you get to the stage where you can do well without it moving around too much. So right, and then that end pops into there like that. So well, it does when I can hold it. So I've already got my screw loaded on my screwdriver. It's just a case of lining it up and then popping the screw in and just giving it a turn and seeing if you can get the screw to go in there. Well, look at that. That went in there perfectly. So, and what I'm going to do is going to tighten these up a little so that it takes a lot of the free play out, but still has free play, because you're going to need free play for your steering. So while we're at this point, I'm going to say to you, a bit further along in the build, we do end up with some little black plastic blocks that go underneath the bus and take the weight off the wheels so much on the bus. And that's because the whole build weighs about 14 kilograms, and 14 kilograms is horrendously heavy. So, and so what happens is that the little black blocks lift this up off the floor, and then it means it will easily steer, and it'll take the weight off the tires as well, and you won't end up with flat spots on your tires. So that'll be a bit later on in the build, but you'll see everything that I'm explaining a bit later on. So right, and then the next thing and the last thing for this one then is to put the steering bar on. Finally fit the steering bar 11E in step 6, and to the command bar, to the command arm. The peg on the end of the steering bar is positioned with the large socket of the large arm, part 11C, fixed in place from below using an LM screw. So that's the last screw we have in the pot, and that is one of these with a shoulder on, and it's got, you can probably see it's got a it's actually a heavier screw. That's why it's not sticking so well to me. Let's try the Agora. There we are. It's got a shoulder on it. So what I'm going to do is pop a bit of oil on, and then this goes through this one here, okay, and then you would have to physically turn it upside down, which we'll do, and then hold it from underneath, and then pop your screw in. So yeah, and the screw then physically stops it from, the screw and the shoulder on the screw stops it from pulling through. So I'm going to screw that on, and again, don't get it too tight, but get it tight enough so that it holds in place, because that's got to move. Okay, so and I think at that then, that is this step done. So let's have a look. So yeah, we've done all them sections on the magazine, and so all I've got now is the assembly guide and the finished view, and the finished view looks exactly like the one I've just made. So yeah, so there we go, all done and dusted and ready for stage 12, and pack 2 in stage 12. Pack 2 in stage 12 is actual fact one of the rear suspension arms, so that goes onto the subframe at the rear. So we'll be doing that shortly. I'll be doing it on another build, not tonight, but I will be doing it on another build, and then we'll be showing you exactly what's what with that. So that's all your steering arms and steering gear done, and yeah, that's it could do to be a little bit tighter, but I'll do that off stream. So, and you need it, as I said though, so that it actually moves, so that it moves your steering. Okay, you don't want your steering nice and stiff, so otherwise you'll end up with arms like Popeye. Right, so let's go back and have a look at the chat. So, goodness me, where am I going to go? So, all right, and I think it was Matt that said evening today. So we'll put Horlicks on, and Horlicks says, oh goodness me, no, D on, come on D, there we are. D says, Horlicks, I put it on the NMB page, so the Northern Model Builders page. Yeah. And then Stephen Orange says, hi, Horlicks. Yes, early finish tonight, so I popped in to watch. Doing okay. I worked all over Christmas with a few days off between Christmas and New Year. Okay. So the thing is with that, Steve, is that, you know, yeah, God bless you. I mean, you've got, if it weren't for people like you, there probably wouldn't be people that would be able to get around to their relatives and such like, won't they? And then there's obviously key workers that need to jump on a bus. So Horlicks, wow, that's a throwback. I made that on my first part, first worked 3D printer. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Actually, it says, I think it says 2012 on the back. But I think he made it much later than that. Stephen Owen says, looking back at the steering, only good for when it was on the stand. Yeah, all this work had to be out of sight. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But it's fun to build. Yeah, absolutely, it is fun to build. And yeah, these parts are all metal, I probably should have said. So yeah, it's adding to the weight as well. But as Stephen says, it's only good for when it's off the ground. So when it's on the ground, it's absolutely no good. So we've got World of Mike. Good evening, Dave. Good evening, World of Mike. Thanks for joining us. And we've got Yorkshire Crafter. Hi, everyone. Hi, Yorkshire Crafter. Thanks for joining us. And World of Mike says, sorry I'm late. I just came off air. You're all right, Mike. That's absolutely fine. You're not late at all. That's absolutely fine. So, and then Horlick says, oh, Stephen Owen, I normally have Xmas off, but I'm going in for a few days over Xmas this year. Glad you're well. Yeah, that's nice. Nice to have some lovely chat among yourselves. So, and then Horlick says, hey, Yorkshire Crafter. And then D. Harris says, Horlicks, what do you think of the Vector 3D printer? I have the same and never used it. Oh, so then D. Harris says, evening at Yorkshire Crafter. And then Horlicks says, D. Harris, honestly, it's a great printer, but because it's not very tolerant, I would say it's more for an advanced user. There's a lot of adjustments needed, just to get a result, and gets very frustrating. Yeah. D. Harris says, Dave, don't like Santa coming. All he leaves me is the receipts. Yeah. Yeah, I can sympathize with that as well. Yeah. So Horlick says, but now I'm using an Ultimate Maker 2 Plus. It's worlds apart and makes it look rubbish. So, and then David Bassett says, good evening, everyone. Sorry I missed the bus. Ding, ding. There we go. You didn't miss that one. So, yeah, good evening, David Bassett. Thanks for joining us. And Horlick says, I made it into the retrofit a new style extruder head. Not sure if I filmed a video. I should have done. Right. Horlick says, haha, D. Harris. D. Harris says, Horlicks, do you use the computer program? It suggests you are your own. And Horlicks, D. Harris says, Horlicks, is that the replacement heater head they sent? Horlicks says, you have to use their software for the standard build, otherwise it does not work. David Bassett says, are you going to be painting those black screwed heads on the chassis frames, Dave? I'll answer that question in a minute. So Horlick says, at least it was the case back in the day, not sure about now. After the upgrade, I could use Cura and save SD cards as I added an SD reader on screen. So, and then Horlick says, D. Harris, no, I used a completely different system and retrofitted it. So Horlick says, DS Models and Vintage, this brings back so many memories. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it brings back a lot of memories for me as well. And that's what the game's about. And if I can persuade anybody to actually go to Agora Models and build this again along with me, then that would be good too. So I think everybody needs a second bus or a third bus or a fourth bus, especially if you're going to paint it as well. So World of Mike says, do you remember, Dave, when I used to assist with Chris's bus and you got some of the issues in exchange for ringtones? Yes, I certainly do. Yeah. Chocolate biscuits for bus parts. Yeah, that was good battering, that was. So World of Mike says, looks lovely, Dave. Well done, thank you. And then David Bassett says, Great build again tonight, Dave. Well done. Thank you very much for that, David Bassett. And then John's model making says, evening all. Evening, John. Thanks for joining us. And I think that's the last one for now. Right. Okay. Let me come back onto screen and we'll talk to you. Yeah, see if I can get a slurp of my tea. Okay. So there we are. We're back. Okay. So here we are. Good evening. So, right. Yeah. Painting the screws silver on the chassis. Yeah, on these, see there's the black screws, they're poking out here, there and everywhere. Well, actually on this model, no. This model is going to be just the red ROUTEMASTER, like the one similar that's behind me somewhere, somewhere back there, I think. Yeah, so it's just going to be a standard red ROUTEMASTER, and that's because a lot of people that have bought it from Agora are just building the standard red ROUTEMASTER, so they don't want to see any, and they want to my ROUTEMASTER to end up exactly like theirs is. So, but, and there is a big but. Yes, I am doing another ROUTEMASTER. Yes, I am painting it. Yes, I will be doing all the mods to it, and yes, I've actually received some paint today. So, what's it going to be? Well, it's going to be the South End Transport ROUTEMASTER. And to prove it, I've got French blue. Okay, and there's my name, look, on the can. So, French blue, and this is a racket can. So, and then I've actually got some white as well, and it's I can't even pronounce that. It's Verka Rosenwis or something, but that's brilliant white in the proper P paint, of course, in the proper Mason's colors. So, and yeah, I've got some touch-up paints, one there, and quarter of a litre there, and there's the blue. That's the blue it's going to be. So it's difficult to see on camera. Probably get it a bit closer. So a bit closer still. Yeah, that's the blue it's going to be. So yeah, the South End Transport ROUTEMASTER. And what I can tell you as well is that I have received one pack. So I've actually received pack 2 for the second ROUTEMASTER. So the wheels are going to be black. The chassis is going to be all silvered. So all these black screws are all going to be silvered. The underneath of the bus is going to be silvered. It's going to have the side light modification. It's going to have the painted color scheme, and I'm going to show you how I do all that. So yeah, it's going to be a fun project. I'm up to, if you want to suggest any modifications, or you want to contribute to any modifications, or you want to come on the show and tell us how you did modifications, I'm up for all that as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be absolutely fun. So you're going to see me build the standard red ROUTEMASTER, and you're going to see me build the South End Transport ROUTEMASTER. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, the South End Transport ROUTEMASTERs were very famous around the Essex area. So Canvey Island and all that, and all that part of Essex. So yeah, and there is one particular ROUTEMASTER. It's going to be because I like to pick a ROUTEMASTER that's actually around, or was actually around in real life. So it's going to be VLT 172. So that's going to be fleet number 102, and it's going to be the last ROUTEMASTER that they had. In fact, the last ROUTEMASTER that ran in service for South End Transport. So that's what it's going to look like. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. As I said, I've got the paint, and I've got that actually came today. Did the paint? It's a bit late, and I've actually got another pack to come from Agora yet, so I'm still waiting on that before I can get ahead of myself on there. So you'll be seeing me do pretty much everything, but obviously you've got to take into account that it's the weather. So if it comes to spraying, then I'm not going to be able to do it if the weather's bad. And of course, the inside conditions have got to be right as well. So I can paint in my workshop, and I can paint outside if it's going to be good weather, and I can paint just outside the back door here, because we've got like a an outhouse at back here. So depending on whether the weather is nice and warm, or if it's going to be a bit cold or cool, then I can't paint. So then you've got to understand that I can't actually physically put some paint on. But yeah, I'm going to make a little video for you to all watch, so this can be all done. And as I say, all the modifications, I'm going to try and film all them. And yeah, the side light mod, Jason's famous side light mod, and probably the indicators that Horlicks did and that Stephen Owen did, with the indicators at the front and the rear. And I may be tempted to do a lit sideboard along the side as well. I may be tempted. So, but if you can tempt me to do it, then try, and I'll try and do it for you. So, but I want this build to be absolutely special. It will be special. It'll be as special as the other two that we've modded and painted, and as special as the normal ones. So, yeah, and look forward to it. Anyway, let's get back to the chat, because I noticed that there is quite a bit more chat come in. Yeah, David Bassett said, well done. And okay, so John's Model Making says, evening all. Evening, John's Model Making. Thanks for joining us. D. Harris says, evening, John's Model Making. Horlicks says, hi, John's Model Making. How are you this evening? Weld of Mike says, wow, love your fiber optic tree, and painting the bus is a great companion for it. Yes. It'll be a great companion for the others, the painted bus. So, and I will share some photographs of what it's going to look like a bit later on in the build. Okay, so Horlicks says, laughing out loud. And then John's Model Making says, fine, thanks, Horlicks. How's you? John's Model Making says, evening, D. Horlicks says, yes, not too bad. John's Model Making, thank you. David Bassett says, the Southend ROUTEMASTER will look amazing. Will you be filming the modifications, Dave? I will be filming as much as I possibly can. As much as I possibly can. And that's because I need you guys to be involved. You made me, you was there for me when I was modding Man and Christine's bus. So you will get to see as much as I can get on film. And obviously there'll be some processes that I can't get on film because it might be long-winded, a few hours or something. But if something's going to be easy and takes a few minutes, or takes a few minutes to explain or show you, then I'll do it as much as I possibly can. And if I can instill some inspiration your way, for you guys to make a modded bus, then that'll be great. So, and obviously, if you want to buy another bus, then all you've got to do is contact Agora down here on the usual web page. So Horlicks says, I'm happy to talk through the steps of the indicators when it comes to it. I still have the photos. Thank you ever so much for that, Horlicks. I really do appreciate that. And I will be taking you up on that. So that was inspired by another YouTuber. Yes, it was inspired by Stephen Owen, I believe. Yeah, Stephen Owen did it in the first instance, didn't he? Yeah, and made a superb job of it too. And yeah, we was part of that. Dave, if you're planning to do the indicator mod the way I did, I do have appeared to have spare leads for that job. If you are interested, I can send them, no issues, as I have loads. Thank you very much for that, Horlicks. Yeah, I do appreciate that. That is, yeah, that would be brilliant. Thank you. Because we will be going there. We will be visiting that mod, definitely. So David Bassett says, additional light on upper deck and the missing bell push. Yes. Yeah, there's the additional light on the upper deck, quite close to the stairs, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. And the additional bell push. Yeah, we'll try and do that as well. So you'll have to try and remind me a bit closer to the series, because obviously it's going to be 129 issues away, something like that. So yeah. Weld of Mike says, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. No, thank you. Thank you for your support, Mike. And then Stephen Owen says, oh, yes, loads of mods. I'll help out with my ROUTEMASTER. Thank you ever so much for that, Steve. Yeah, what we'll have to do is we'll have to come up with a plan a bit nearer the time, and then we'll get you on the show and you can tell everybody how we did these superb mods, because yeah, that's what it's all about. If I can share with you what's going to happen, and then that shares that out to the community, and then we all get to know a bit more about it, don't we? So, and that's the most important thing. So D Harris says, any long steps within the build? If not to video, what about time lapse? Yeah, I can do time lapse. I can do part 1, part 2, part 3 of a build, if that's going to be a long build. There's all sorts of things we can do. Yeah, no problem. So Welder Mike says, you're most welcome, Dave. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for that, Mike. And we've got another one. And yes, so can my mods sort that one out for me, please? Just under Mike there. So right. Okay, so what I'm going to say to you now is thanks ever so much for commenting. I'm very much appreciate it. Yeah, I very much appreciate it indeed. I will be doing a couple more before Christmas, without a shadow of a doubt. In fact, I want to try and get pack 2 about done before Christmas, if I can, and then I can start on the pack 1 of the modded bus, and we'll start calling it the Southend Transport ROUTEMASTER via Agora. So yeah. And yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll keep this channel for the Red ROUTEMASTER, and then I'll make another channel for the Southend ROUTEMASTER, and that'll be more of a free and easy one, if you like. And yeah, so then people can then choose if they just want to look at the standard ROUTEMASTER build, or they want to look at the modded painted ROUTEMASTER build. Okay. Right. Okay. So thanks ever so much for that, Mark. So Horlick says, yes, I know Stephen Owen did a different version of the indicator mod. So great to cover both. So there's options for a few builders. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Horlick, there is. Okay. Max Mod says, done. Thank you very much for that, Mark. Yeah, he's sorted out that troll for me. Thank you. And then Welder Mike says, hi, Willow, laughing out loud. Yeah, Willow's just got up, I think. And D Harris says, nice, we streamed good. Good job, Dave. See you next time. Okay, right. Thank you very much for that, D. Okay, so I'm going to leave you now, and I'm going to obviously say my goodbyes. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for commenting. It's very much appreciated. And hope you liked my little update on what we're going to be doing shortly. And hope you like the update on the bus as well. It's coming along nicely. And I'll see you shortly with another ROUTEMASTER. In between times, I think tomorrow night, well, I do know tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'll be on with Crafty Chris, and she'll be building with Yorkshire Crafter as well. She'll be building Eddie Stobbard. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that too. And yeah, DRS has said night all. So night all. And good night. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you soon. So goodbye now.